Okay, so this is a video about capping a non-planar object, specifically a ribbon object that a Reddit user posted. So I'm going to create my ribbon first, and to do that, all I'm going to do is make 4 lines, and then I will edit them in just a second. Made my 4 lines. I'm now going to select them, grab their points. I'm going to move these points around, and if I remember right, the ribbon was very wavy up and down. None of the points were on the same plane. And then what I'm going to do is simply grab all of these and loft them. I'm going to do a closed loft, normal, preview. Yep, that gives me a ribbon similar to the example given on Reddit. Alright, switch to shaded, so you can see that. There's your ribbon. I think the one in the example is a little bit thinner, but this should work. So now what I need to do is I need to cap the top of this. There's a few ways to do it. This I think is probably going to be the one that will work most often. It's a little bit complicated. The first way to do it is to do curve from objects, duplicate edge, and then I'm just going to select this edge. We're just going to work on the top one, repeat the process for the bottom. Select that one. Then with that one, I am going to extrude to point, extrude curve to point, and then I can place this point wherever I like. I'm going to place it just right there. Now, that's god awful. Let me actually throw down a point in space and see if that is any better. I'm going to grab this point down here. So I'm going to just put it right towards the middle. Now, this is not going to make a good surface. This is just the simplest way to make this surface. And that is, again, grab the curve, extrude, curve to point. Now I can snap to that point if I had my snaps on, which I do not, now I do. Snap to point, that gives me a crappy surface that it'll do the trick if that's what you need. The more warped the surface is, the worse this is going to work. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and not going to delete that. I'm just going to put that way over here, keep it off to the side, so we can look at it later. And I am going to delete this little point. I do not want him anymore. So, I still have this curve. I like my curve. My curve is good. What I am going to do is build out 2 surfaces. I'm going to build out a surface in each direction. And so the way I'm going to do that is, this is probably a little more complicated than it needs to be, but I'm going to make a line. I'm going to extrude that line. I am going to, I accidentally did extrude to point. We're just going to go and do an extrude curve. Both sides, yes. And I'm just going to extrude it well past my ribbon. I'm going to go just to top view so we can see that a little better. So now I have one plane this way, and I'm going to make a duplicate of that by grabbing this, hitting Option, give myself another plane right there. Now, you can see I have my cardinal planes. I'm going to use those cardinal planes as cutting objects on this curve. Again, I swear there's an easier way to do this. I just couldn't think of it when I was giving the instructions, and I still think it's a reasonably good way to get this done. So the way I'm going to do this is go and grab the split command, the split command. First thing, select objects to split. I'm going to select that curve because that's what I want. Press enter when done. Select cutting objects. These planes are my cutting objects, and select both of them. Press enter when done. Bam. One curve split into 4 pieces. So let's see where those are. There's a curve there. And then you can see that that goes there and is not on the rest of the object. So I'm going to keep my planes just in case I need them. Move them off to the side. Now what I'm going to do is, because a planar cap won't work, so we have to go through and find the surface tools that will work. The surface tool that I'm going to use for this is edge curves. And with edge curves, it asks you to select 2, 3, or 4 open curves. So I'm going to select each of these quadrant curves as open curves. And then as soon as I hit the 4th one, you can see it builds me this very nice sort of Pringle-shaped surface for the top of this. So you can see that it has all the curves. There's no point in the middle. Like we can see this one comes to that sharp point right there and is kind of ugly, especially on this axis. You can see the peak in that. This one is pretty and has this very nice soft, I don't even know what you would call it. It's a Pringle. And then I could redo that same set of commands for the bottom. So I can flip my object over, I can put these back, and I am going to duplicate the edge of this object. Again, curve from objects, duplicate edge, or border, it doesn't matter in this case, both will do the same thing. Grab that edge, press enter when done, deselect everything, get split, select objects to split, it's that curve, grab that, cutting objects are these 2 planes, enter. Oh, did I not? I did not do that right. Let's try that again. Select objects to split, curve, curve, enter, select cutting objects, this one and this one, enter. Okay, I now have the 4 bottom curves. So then I'm going to grab all of these planes, move them out of the way because I don't want them. And then I am going to surface, edge curves, quadrant, quadrant, quadrant. And when I click the last one, it will automatically make my surface. Click. And again, I have another nice, happy, Pringly shape, which is now on the bottom of this object. So my nice, happy Pringle shape looks like that. Oop. Looks like that. We can change views. Let's go to a rendered so we can see that the arc is actually pretty damn good. Alright, let's switch back to shaded just because that's what I like to work in. Then I'm going to grab my 3 surfaces because that ring is one surface and then each top and bottom is another surface. And then I'm just going to join them. They have joined. And that should now be an object that is solid top, solid bottom on a organic, non-planar ribbon edge.